Great. So let's find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. You might be cross-legged, you might be in a chair, you might be in some other configuration, you might have the legs extended. Doesn't really matter. We're always finding a way to find comfort and sustainability in our yoga poses. And then we're taking the heels of the hands to the upper thighs as we do every class. Just an opportunity to check in with ourselves, right? It's almost like when you have a trigger move that's like that, okay, your body knows this is the practice. Now we are doing yoga. Now we are doing yoga. And then we can take it side to side. So pressing on one thigh, leaning away, turning to look up at the sky. Wringing the body out, going back and forth. You're in charge of how far you lean. You're in charge of how much pressure you put in your thigh. You're in charge of how long you stay on either side. You might be going slower or faster than me. Gorgeous. And then coming back to neutral. So let's take the hands to the side ribs. You're going to think of lifting the ribs up off the bowl of the pelvis, and you might even wiggle a little side to side. It's a bit like trying to get a cork out of the bottle. And then reaching the arms up in a wide V. Beautiful. Thumbs towards the back wall. Lift the sternum, lift the chin, drop the tailbone. And then one more big breath here. As you exhale, hands float to the lap, chin comes parallel to the floor, and we can close the eyes. If we feel safe and comfortable to do so, closing the eyes, going inside, noticing how is it in this body? How is it in this mind? How is it to be here this morning? Then how have you sat yourself down? Does anything need adjusting? Are you comfortable? Now that we've been here for a moment, maybe the answer is no, and you need to straighten something out or add support or shift in some way. Sits bones evenly balanced, right side, left side. Does one side feel heavier this morning? Really give it your attention as if it were the most interesting thing in the world. Can we be so fascinated by our own experience here that everything else falls away? Any concerns, any worries, any distractions that were occupying us, they just fall to the side, because how fascinating is it? Could we lift the lower abdomen up and back? What does it feel like to engage? What does it feel like to release? Is it a big change? Is it subtle? And then lifting and spreading the collarbones. Arm bones hanging heavy from the shoulder socket. Palms of the hands open and receptive. Skull balanced on top of the spine. Maybe there's some action that needs to happen. Dipping the ears towards the shoulders, dipping the chin towards the chest. Maybe there's a little twisting. Is the neck feeling stiff coming from slumber? Is there any tightness? And then eventually ears equidistant to the earth beneath you. Lift from the base of the skull. Perhaps the chin dips slightly. That's okay, right? Prioritize length in the back of the neck. That'll help you soften the throat. And then relax the jaw. Bottom jaw dropping away from top jaw, creating space between the teeth. But if you can, the lips are still sealed. And relax and spread the cheekbones. Soften the bridge of the nose. Relax the eyes in their sockets. And then go to the space between the eyebrows. Soften tension. Spread them out. Smooth out the forehead. Relax the skin at the temples. Soften the inner ears. And then with that same fascination we just had at the entire body, let's bring that, fine-tune it down to the breath. Down to the inhalation and exhalation. Each breath a new opportunity to begin again. So find your rhythm, whatever it is this morning. Don't necessarily need to change it. Right? We're just seeing how it is now. Can we stay with it? Always the question. The mind wants to get distracted. Don't let it happen. Keep the mind rooted in the experience of the breath. And then bringing the hands together in front of the heart. Palm against palm, fingers elongated, lift the sternum to the base of the thumbs. Once again, broaden the collarbones. Preparing for sound. Maybe the first noise you've made today from your mouth. Right? Maybe the first time you're using your vocal cords, clearing out the cobwebs of slumber. Go ahead. We'll chant 3 times Om and then the invocation. Exhale fully. Let go of all the breath you have. Inhale fully. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvina vaditamastu, ma vidvashavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, let the chin come towards the chest, let the hands come towards the lap, and tune your attention inward once again, and notice, is there anything bubbling up, any intention, any desire, any need, any want that is going to inform your practice today? Maybe it's something like be gentle, maybe it's something like work strongly, it could be anything in between, it could just be that you want to be present. There are no wrong answers, even if all you found was silence. Then start to flutter the eyelids open, taking in form and color and space. As you feel ready, raise the gaze, and as we do, don't look directly into the screen yet. Look wide. If you have a window, perhaps you can see the sun rising. It's going to be a very lovely day from all reports I've heard, which will be a treat. You know it's been a rough winter when 30 degrees sounds like a heat wave. Let's help the knees up, extend the legs forward, iron them out, root to shoot. Get in contact with this deliciously lovely body you have. What a treat to still be inhabiting our bodies, right? I was listening to a thought exercise this morning of, if you only had 6 months left to live, how would you want to live your life? It's like, gets you right in the gut, right? Like, how do I want to live my life? Hands on either side, lift and spread the collarbones. Let's point and flex. I know I've got very dark socks on, although there's something on the bottom of my sock. Oh, it's a little brand mark. My friend just gave me these and I hadn't really looked at them. All I know is that they had kitties on them. Which, you know me, I am a sucker for anything with kitties on them. Come to the center of the heel. Let's invert the foot, just quickly moving through the actions of the feet to loosen things up. Gorgeous. Coming back to neutral now. Squeeze and release the toes. Squeeze and release the toes. Nice. And then big toe up, 4 toes down like you're hitchhiking. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Then big toe forward, 4 toes back. We're holding it for a second this morning. Nice. Then go back and forth. Yes. Gentle, gentle. Relax the face. Beautiful. And then just because we can, let's alternate. We don't want to lose that ability. Right? So big toe up on one foot, big toe forward on the other. Relax your face. Gorgeous. And then coming underneath the knees, bringing the feet to the floor as wide as feels comfortable. Do a little swishy swash. We are going to be working on the outer thighs, inner groins, hips, that whole complex as well, trying to get some compaction, stabilization. It's going to be great. But we're going to start off with a chest opener. Yeah, I want to have a level playing field for us as we move through our sequence. So go ahead, roll to one side, grab your blanket, roll it up. Classic rolled blanket chest opener. Have a flat block for your head. Beautiful. And then coming to lay down, you can keep your socks on, your extra layers for now. Bottom tip of the shoulder blade finds that blanket, head comes to the block. Sometimes this is the best thing on the planet. I don't know about you, but when I've been working a lot on my computer or doing body work on people or just, living my life, maybe you have the same experience. You get into this and it's like your whole body just says, thank you. So take a moment to do a little rocking from side to side. Maybe you're picking up and replacing things, making sure everything ended up in the right place. And then as you feel ready, the arms will extend out in a T shape, and one at a time, you'll go ahead and extend your legs onto the earth. Now, here's the caveat. If you get there with the legs extended and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, my low back is not liking this, then you'll bend the knees again, take them a little wider than the hips, and point the big toes towards each other, letting the knees fall into each other. And this can be a nice way to work if the low back's feeling a little less than. All right, but if your legs are extended, you're going to roll the inner thighs towards the floor, big toes towards each other. Both of those actions help to spread the low back a little bit. It's almost like you're wrapping the back of the hip bone around to the front. And then reaching the arms up towards the sky. Let's take opposite hand to opposite forearm, like I Dream of Jeannie. And then you'll either take the forearms clear over the crown of the head, but if that feels problematic, you can absolutely rest the forearms on the forehead. If it's still not working, no worries. You don't have to have the arms like this. You could just leave them out in that T shape. You still get plenty of benefit, right? So it's not that we always have to take the arms up and over. It's just like an added bonus. If it's not working for you, don't feel like you're not getting anything out of it. And then lower the lower frontal ribs down, right? So it's almost like you're trying to swipe the lower frontal ribs towards the front of the hip bones. At the same time, think of drawing the pubic bone towards the belly button. And in this fashion, we end up getting long. Chin is moving towards the chest. We're taking deep breaths here. Softening the throat and the jaw. Softening the eyes. Relaxing the belly. Such a nice pose to do after slumber as well. No matter which way you sleep, this is often a nice antidote, getting the spine to move in a different direction. Now make a mental note which forearm is on top. And then as you inhale, you reach the arms behind you. Palms of the hands are facing each other. Thumbs pointed towards the earth. Think of reaching from the outer rib cage to the outer armpit to the outer elbow to the pinky finger. Beautiful. And then as you exhale, now it's the opposite forearm on top. This might need more or less support depending on the story of your shoulders. So feel free to take what you need. Don't just assume it's going to be the same as the first side or even the same as it was last time you did this. Because we all have a current life story that's in progress, right? So things are happening. We have to be curious how we can adjust to whatever chapter we're in. But then again, swipe the lower frontal ribs towards the front of the hip bones. Draw the pubic bone a little towards the belly button. Don't overdo, don't underdo. Find just the right spot. Nice full breath. And then on your next exhalation, let the arms come out and down, back into that T shape. Everyone bends the knees. Bringing the feet to the edges of the mat. You know the drill. It's knees and head in opposition, but really take your time here. Really take your time here. There's no need to rush. We're approaching with my favorite kind of tea, curiosity. Let me know if that joke's getting so old that it needs to be retired. I don't know that I'll actually retire it, but I would completely understand. Gorgeous. As you feel ready, roll all the way to one side. Use your hands to help yourself up, help yourself out. Now, we're going to work with Supta Padangusthasana, but we're going to work with a slightly different technique today to help get the femur bone deeper into the acetabulum. And I want to show you kind of what we're doing before we do it so you'll know. So what we're going to end up doing, and you'll have to kind of figure out how close or how far away it needs to be from your body. But we're going to end up stacking the blocks like this, so making an inclined plane at the outer thigh. So when we get there, and we're not there yet, so I'm just showing you, we'll put one block flat with the horizontal long edge, horizontal to the long edge of the yoga mat, and then the second block gets kind of cantilevered here, and I'll show you to the side. So it ends up being this little inclined plane. And you can play with how steep it is, right? You'll end up playing around with it a little bit. It's going to be a little fussy on the first side for the first few moments, but then you're going to get it and you're going to be like, oh, this makes perfect sense. So just have your two blocks ready to go. Have your strap nearby. We're unrolling the blanket and then folding it in half so we've got our head support, right? Because we know how nice that is to have the head and the neck supported. And then we're coming to lay down in active rest. And it's all very civilized. And here we are, head is down. We could take the head a little side to side. Again, like we did before, we could pick up and replace things if it felt necessary. Might be rocking the pelvis in opposition to the head. It's all good, whatever you need to do to feel settled. Then, before we start with our strap work and taking the leg up, I want to set up our blocks. And they're right here, they're nearby. And so, obviously, the block that's flat is going to be a little ways away from our outer hip, but in line with our outer hip. And then we're placing our block, the second one, so that we've got our little inclined plane. And if I haven't over-explained it yet, let me continue. So you'll have to figure out how close or how far away and how steep or how shallow you want that inclined plane to be. Right? We're playing with physics today. You didn't know we were going to do physics lessons. All right, once you've got that set up, you've got your strap. You're drawing the right knee towards you. Strap goes over the ball of the foot, and then you're extending the leg up towards the sky. Now, I want you to be really specific about where the back of the hip is, because I don't want you to peel the back of the pelvis off the floor. That's not going to get us anywhere. We want to keep the back of the hip heavy. Shoulder blades resting on the earth, chin moving towards the chest. Then we extend that left leg. It can move to the left an inch and a half or so, right? And then we're pressing the back of the leg firmly down into the ground. Inner heel reaching forward, inner thigh heavy. And then both sides of the strap go into the right hand. Left arm reaches out to the left, palm of the hand is down. We inhale to get long. Then as we exhale, we start to take this leg out and down to the right. And if all is gone well, those blocks are there to provide an inclined plane, which helps to pull the thigh bone a little more deeply into the hip socket. You can absolutely play around with height. So how close is the block to your outer hip? How high is that inclined plane reaching up? Then everyone's drawing their right upper arm into the shoulder socket. We're directing the tailbone gently towards that inner left heel. Nose is pointed straight up towards the sky, and then we're just breathing here. If there's any impingement in the shoulder, it's starting to feel aggravating, you can always slide that right hand down the strap and bring the elbow to the floor. But if you wanted to do a little more strengthening, more stabilization in that shoulder, that same kind of drawing in we're getting of the thigh bone into the hip socket, we can do with the upper arm bone into the shoulder socket. It's almost like you're retracting the arm in. You might even feel your shoulder blade move a little closer to the spine. That would be fine. Nice. Pubic bone to belly button, back of the neck nice and long. Nice full breaths here. Excuse me. Gorgeous. One more full inhale. Then on the exhale, we're bringing this leg back to neutral. Why not? We're here. I wasn't going to do it, but I think I will. I think it'll feel good. Just put both straps into the left hand for a second. Tuck your thumb in your right hip crease. Roll the outer hip out. And then just for giggles, take the leg a little bit to the left. It's not a big action. You know it, right? It's just a nice, it's like, you know, when you hear shave in the haircut, you know, doot, 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 nobody does the last part. It's so unsatisfying. I feel this is the same way. If we don't take the leg a little over, it's unsatisfying. Gorgeous. All right, bring the leg back to neutral. Spread the straps out between both hands. Take the leg a little towards you, a little away, little towards you, little away. Then release the foot from the strap. Both legs on the ground. Just give yourself a moment here in stillness. How does it feel? Now you've done Supta Padangusthasana 1,000 times in your lifetime. Did this one feel a little different? In any small way? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's okay. It's an experiment. If you're like, it felt the same, that's no problem. You've done nothing wrong. But let's get set up on the other side. So we're switching the blocks over. We don't know where they're going to need to be necessarily, but we're setting them up more or less the same as we had them on the first side. You might have to lift your head a little bit to look. If you need to put a hand behind your head to do that without straining, you absolutely can. And then we're ready. So right foot stays on the floor, left knee comes towards the chest. We place the strap around the ball of the foot and we extend. It's a different leg. It's going to feel different. That's okay. Shoulder blades are heavy. Back of the neck is long. Take a full breath here just because we can. And then go ahead and extend that right leg onto the earth. See if it changes your relationship with your right leg. It might not. And then both sides of the strap into the left hand. Right arm reaches out to the right. Palm of the hand is down. We inhale for length. We exhale for action. Taking that left leg out and down to the left. And then we're adjusting the blocks as needed. Do they need to come closer? Do they need to go a little further away? Does the block that's acting as the cantilever, the inclined plane, does it need to be a little steeper, a little more shallow? We're figuring it out. We're experimenting. And yes, it's a tiny bit fussy in the beginning, but once you get it, that sensation of getting the femur bone to be in the hip socket is so important. We spend a lot of time stretching this area and not a lot of time compacting. And so that compaction, that feeling of actually getting the femur bone to move back into the hip socket is incredibly healthy for the hip. Back of the neck is long. Breath is full. Let yourself just be here. Upper left arm plugged into the shoulder socket. Shoulder blade moving down the back. Right, so it's almost like you're lifting your lower frontal ribs, but we resist by drawing them down, like you're smoothing them towards the frontal hip bones. I've heard this called in Pilates and even ballets, you're knitting the rib cage together. Right, that feeling of almost the corset coming around. Maybe you've never worn a corset. For whatever reason, I think they're quite fun. Not that, although I don't think I have any left anymore. No real occasion to wear them. Take another inhale here. Then as you exhale, bring that leg back up to neutral. We'll go for it. Switch the hands, right? So now right hand has the strap, left thumb's free to go in the hip crease. We roll the outer hip away and then bring this leg over to the right, any amount. Ah, so satisfying, right? Gorgeous. Inhale the leg back to neutral. Spread those straps out between both hands. Take the leg a little towards you, a little away, little towards you, a little away. And then exhale. Release both legs on the ground, arms to the side. We've done it. So good. All right. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. Walk them a little bit wider than the hips. You might have to move your blocks off to the side. And then let's just do it. Knees and head in opposition. It's a nice unwinding action. Helps us get rid of any tension. Also helps us understand what's happening. If there are spots that feel tight or irritated, we'll be able to target them as we move through some of our next actions. Gorgeous. And then rolling all the way to one side. Now, if you have socks on, this would probably be a good place to take them off because we are going to work through some downward dog and some other actions that you'll need traction for your feet. So taking the socks off, putting them to the side. If you need padding underneath your knees, go ahead and take it. Otherwise, the blanket could go off to the side. And then let's come to all fours, table pose. Let's plant the hands really intelligently. So the middle fingers are reaching, but your index fingers are parallel. So your middle fingers might be reaching towards the corners of the mat. Like when I plant my hands and I look down my middle fingers, I can see the corners of the mat. And then I'm spreading my fingers so wide apart. It's like you're palming a basketball, but it's your yoga mat. And I know these are fundamental things, but I think it's good to go over them every once in a while in case we've fallen into bad habits. And then let's work through the little action of the arms where you bend the elbow out to the side, swoop the elbows underneath like you're squeezing a beach ball, and then lift your shoulders away from your wrists. Then tuck your toes under, lift the hips up and back. If you're doing an alternative pose with the hands on a surface, that's absolutely fine. You can still get those same actions of the hands. Everyone's reaching the hips back. If you need to pedal out the feet or do anything here, feel free to do it. It's our first dog of the day, and we're really trying to just determine how our body feels. So if you need to do any actions to make it your own, please feel free to do it. Softening the jaw, the teeth, the tongue. Nice. And then come on down. Come on down. We're going to take our two tall blocks underneath our hands, and we're going to work through our lizard series, our Uttam Prasthasana series, right? This is going to prepare our hips for what we're going to be working on next. So hands on your tall blocks. We're going to take our left foot outside of our left block. And because you've taken the leg outside the block, the knee is at an angle, and you need to make sure that the foot is at the same angle, because we're going to go ahead and let the knee come over the toes. Now, how do you know if you're in the right spot? Well, here's the deal. If my legs are too close together and I bring the knee over the toes, my heel might start lifting off the floor. We don't want that. We want the heel to stay on the floor. So that might mean I might need to move my back knee back. And you can see how I did that. I just tucked the back toes under and then slid the knee back. And if you need padding underneath that back knee, please take it. There shouldn't be a ton of pressure on the knee though. Indeed, if you're working with any knee issues where having pressure on the knee didn't feel good, you can press into the top of your foot to help lighten the load. Then we're lifting the front of the sternum as we sink the hips. Now, I'm on tall blocks. You might still be on tall blocks too, but if you felt like you wanted to go a little bit deeper, you could turn your blocks to medium blocks, right? That deepens the pose. Still others, you've got a lot of flexibility in the hips. You might be able to go to flat blocks or no blocks at all. In my body today, medium blocks are feeling like they're really good. Keep lifting the sternum, shoulder blades down the back. Then you're welcome to stay here, or Everyone now could think about tucking the back toes under and lifting that back knee off the floor. Now here's the deal. We don't want saggy knees in this pose. You want to think of lifting the back of the knee up towards the sky, firming the muscles to the bone, lifting the sternum forward. And then even here, that sneaky action of the abdomen comes in. What happens if you draw your pubic bone towards your belly button as you continue to lift your heart? Nice. Inner back heel moves back, inner front knee moves forward. Then exhale, back knee comes down, flatten the top of the foot. You're going to sneak out of the pose, bring that front knee back, put the blocks to the side, plant the hands, tuck the toes, and lift the hips up and back. You're just seeing what happened. Again, any actions that need to go on. If I wasn't weight bearing today and I didn't feel like getting up and down from my support, I could absolutely do puppy pose instead. Take another breath. And then exhale. Knees come down. Let's go to the second side. So I'm just going to turn around so you can see the active leg. You don't need to turn around at all. So I've got my tall blocks. Now it's the right leg that's coming outside of the right block. I've got my knee and my foot at the same angle so that when I bend the knee, my knee is going directly over my toes. It's not going in, it's not going out. If I need more space between the feet, I could crawl my front foot forward or I could move my back knee back. Just depends on what feels good in your body. And then there's a tendency when we get in this pose to be here, right? Where the upper back is rounded and you're looking at the floor and you sound like a munchkin. Instead, I want you to think of lifting the heart, letting the hips come forward. And then you get to choose your own adventure here. Are you going to stay up on the tall blocks? Going to drop down to the medium blocks? Or are you going to come to the flat blocks? Medium feels better on this side too for me today. Maybe you've chosen something else. Keep lifting the heart. And then you can stay here or you're welcome to tuck the back toes under and lift that back knee off the floor. So we look like a little lizard. That's why it's called this. I didn't name it. Keep lifting the heart. Keep opening the back knee. And then find a little bit of connection, pubic bone, belly button. But keep letting the heart come forward so you don't overextend that thoracic spine. Nice. Keep breathing. I know it's a powerful pose. And then exhale. Back knee down. Front knee back. You're creeping out of the pose. Plant your hands. Tuck your toes. And lift the hips up and back. You might be pedaling out the feet here. You might be twisting the hips side to side. You might have ended up in your puppy pose and you might be wiggling the tail a little left and right. All are welcome to the party. Nice. All right. Exhale. Come on down. Now we're all probably going to want our blanket. And I'm going to think about rolling it up into a little cylinder. So I'm going to take it, fold it in half, and then roll it. So we've got the long rectangle we usually use for our head, and then you're going to roll it up as best you can to get this little, I call it the cinnamon bun, even though I haven't had a cinnamon bun in like 5 years, so it probably doesn't look like this, but cinnamon bun. And that's going to go underneath your ribs. So we're going to come to lay on our sides. It doesn't matter which side you start with. We've got this little cinnamon bun under the ribs to help keep pressure out of the shoulder. If it doesn't feel like enough support, you could absolutely add another blanket. If you're someone who has a Pilates ball hanging around, that's another good option. So typically this would be done with the ball under the ribs, which is a nice way to work, but we don't all have balls. So we're going to use our little cinnamon bun to provide that support. Elbow underneath shoulder. It's fine if the forearm is diagonal. And we're trying not to sink onto that blanket. It's just there for a little bit of support. And then the knees are bent and the knees are coming forward. So my feet are in line with my hips, right? So if I look down my hips, I can see my feet and they're pretty much directly in line with my hips. And then the top hand can either come to the hip or the fingertips can come to the floor in front of you. And we're going to, like I had said before, we're going to work this outer thigh, inner groin area. We're going to do something that is ingloriously called the clamshell, lifting up and coming down. And if at any point being in this position with the blanket underneath the rib cage didn't feel good, I could come down with my head on my hand, or I could even come to lay my head down. So if this starts to feel problematic in the shoulder or anything like that, know that there are options. Beautiful. And so we're lifting the knee and closing it. Lifting the knee and closing it. And you might be lifting a few inches, you might be lifting several inches. Kind of keep the feet glued together. Keep breathing. Navel engaged, so belly button to spine. Soften the jaw. I know, you start to feel it pretty quickly. You're going at your pace. I personally like to exhale as I open the knees and inhale as I release. I feel like that exhale gives me a little bit more control through the abdomen. Nice. And then we're going to add on. Okay, so listen carefully. You're going to lift the knee, extend the leg, bring the foot back together, lower the knee. Knee up, extend the top leg, bend the knee, feet together, knee down. Right? You might not be getting up very high. It might just be a little extension, right? You might not be fully extending. It depends on how it feels. I know, we're bringing in a little Pilates this morning. Annie and I have been discussing the benefits of Pilates for the last couple of weeks. We're like, ooh. You might have noticed if you were in class on Tuesday, she brought some Pilates into that too. If you're like, I hate Pilates, I'm so sorry. Let's do 2 more. Okay. Knee up, extend the leg, bend the knee, knee down. Last one, knee up, extend the leg, bend the knee, knee down. And then use your hands to push yourself up. I'm going to take a little stretch. So I'm sitting in a modified Bharadvajasana. I've got my opposite hand, right? So the elbow that was on the floor is free. And I'm leaning towards the legs. So the top arm comes up and over. It's a big stretch on the side body. It should feel nice. Yes. And then inhale to come back. Let's go to the other side. So setup is the same. Maybe you have the blanket under the rib cage. Maybe you have your elbow on the floor and your head in your hand. Maybe you're laying the torso down. And then we set the knees up so that your feet are in line with your hip as you look down the side of your body. That makes sure we're all in the same place. Then again, this top hand could be on the top hip, or the fingertips or the palm could come to the floor in front of you. And then we're not going to do as many reps on this side because you're going to notice as we start, and you can go ahead and start lifting the knee and replacing it, that this side already got some work, right? And it already feels like, woo, what happened there? And again, you might just be lifting the knee a half an inch. That still counts. Others, you might be able to lift it up quite high. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to roll towards your back body to lift the knee, right? It's almost like you've got a wall behind you. And sometimes it even can be helpful to take that top hand to your back sacrum, just so you can kind of feel if you're being honest, because it's really easy to kind of roll back, right? Keep breathing. Soften the jaw. If looking forward doesn't feel good in the neck, you could always look down at your arm. Just try to keep the shoulders squared to the wall in front of you. All right, let's do our add-on. Lift the knee, extend the leg, bend the knee, return. Lift the knee, extend the leg, bend the knee, return. Exhale, exhale, inhale, inhale. Soften the jaw. Yeah, relax the face. Keep lifting up and off of that blanket if you can. That helps the side abdominals to get a little bit of action. Beautiful. Just a few more. You've got this. So good. Last one. You got this. Woo! Yeah, the burn is real. Beautiful. Once you're complete, use the hands to push up. So that top hand will hold on to the outer thigh on the opposite leg. The bottom arm comes up and over. Oh, it's very pretty. You all look so lovely. Like ballerinas, which I'm sure you woke up this morning, that was what you wanted to do. And then inhale to come up and out. Let's set up for our next adventure. Beautiful. So this one, we probably all want to have a blanket underneath the knee, unless you're on carpet. So I'm going to put my unfolded blanket folded into that kind of square-ish shape right in the middle of my mat. And then we're going to take a block for underneath the hand. So I've got a flat block, long edges of the block parallel to the long edges of the mat. And then we're going to have our other block in our opposite hand. So we're going to come, let's all start out on the same side. So I've got my right knee on the mat, my right hand on the block, and we're coming into a modified side plank. Right? This is a familiar place. We've been here before. There's not a ton of pressure on this bottom hand. We're not collapsing. We're trying to stay lifted up and out of the shoulder, right? And if I needed to be on my fingertips, if that felt like I was in more control, I could absolutely do that. I can even, if I had a bunch of blocks, I could use 2 blocks, right? And that'll take you up and out of the shoulder a little bit more. But here's where we're going. You're going to lift this block up towards the sky. This is the inhale. And then we're going to start gentle. Everyone's going to start together. As you exhale, you're going to bring the block forward and down towards the floor. Then you're going to inhale to bring the block back up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the block down. This is level 1. Some of you may choose to stay here. Now it's very important that the leg that's extended, the foot is on the yoga mat. Okay? It's very cryptic, I know. All right, if you want to move on, next time you go to bring that block towards the floor, you're going to think of lifting the bottom knee towards the block. So I'm actually lifting my bottom knee off the floor and forward, then I'm coming back and down. And indeed, if I wanted to take that as a baby step, I might just think of lifting the knee up slightly as I bring the block forward. So I bring the block towards the floor, lift the knee a bit, and then come back. Another baby step would be to bring that block all the way to the floor, brace yourself on both blocks, and then lift the knee. So there's lots of different ways to approach this. And I kind of like that top block coming down to the earth and then lifting the bottom knee. I think that's a nice intermediate step. But if you want to go for it, you're bringing your knee. It's almost like you're trying to bring your knee towards your elbow and then coming back up. And if you're like, wow, that's a lot, you're right. But it's a wonderful way to start working those deep abdominal muscles. And again, if it felt challenging, you could absolutely have 2 blocks underneath your hand. Makes it a little bit easier. I might even just take whatever block I had in my top hand. Gorgeous. Let's do 2 more. Even if it's just that you're bringing the block towards the floor and not lifting the bottom knee. Last one. Beautiful. And then come to stand on both knees. Have the wide block between your hands. Inhale the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hips are going to go right, arms are going to go left. I don't think I'm mirroring you. That's okay. Inhale back through center. Exhale other side. And then coming back to neutral. Exhale, go ahead. If you can, sit on your heels. If not, you can stay up on your knees. We're going to circle the wrists. Beautiful. And then we'll do that much to the other side. This is our last bit of hard work. okay? This is our last bit of work, and then we will do some sweetness to release. So I'm setting up the same as I did on the first side. I've got that flat block underneath my head. My left knee is on the ground. My right leg is extended, or whatever side you didn't do. This is one of those sequences where you can definitely tell which side you didn't do. All right, making sure that back foot is fully on the mat if you're planning on lifting the back knee. This arm is directly underneath the shoulder, so the block isn't forward, the block isn't close, it's directly underneath the shoulder, so you've got your joints stacked. And then let's start with the easy version. Inhaling the block up towards the sky. Exhale, navel to spine, bring the block to the floor. Right, so we're finding, we did the clamshell with the legs. Now it's kind of like we're doing the same thing with the arms. And then let's add on. So let's all go to that first variation if you're going for it, where we put the top block on the floor. Now both arms have something to press into, and maybe you just pop that knee off the floor for a second. Right? And then you inhale to open, exhale to come down. Maybe it's just a thought of lifting that bottom knee. And then if things are going well, you want to try going for it. Then maybe the bottom arm doesn't come all the way to the floor, and you find a way just to bring that knee towards the elbow. Keep breathing. We don't always get into these oblique muscles with such a deep concentration of effort. Let's do 2 more. Whatever variation you're in. Last one. Beautiful. And then let's take that stretch again. Both knees down on the floor. Wide block between your hands. Inhale the arms up towards the sky. Gorgeous. As you exhale, hips go left, arms go right. I know I'm not mirroring you. Gorgeous. Inhale through center. Exhale, second side. And then inhale back to neutral. Exhale to release. Go ahead, let's set up for Supta, or not Supta, regular Baddha Konasana. But here's what I'd like you to do today. I'd like everyone to be on blocks. We're going to take the 2 blocks, long edge to long edge, place them down on our mat, and come to sit so that our sits bones have even flat surface. Great, so I'm centering myself so that I'm right in the middle. Beautiful, both blocks together, and then taking the soles of the feet together. It should feel very good. Anyone cold? Not anymore. Press the fingertips if you can into the floor beside you. If not, the edge of the block is probably there. You can absolutely use that to help lift the sternum. Think of lifting the collarbones. Maybe the chin lifts slightly as well. Soles of the feet pressing together. Then you're welcome to stay here, or we can take the fingertips in front and start to hinge forward from the hips. It's from the hips, not the upper back, right? Don't round out like this. Think of continuously lifting, lifting, lifting the sternum as you come forward any amount. Breathing here. Again, maybe you're still in upright, pressing your hands into the blocks and lifting. Pressing your fingertips into the floor and lifting. Just depends on where you're at. Nice. And then hands to the outer knees. Help the knees up. We're going to come off of our blocks. And then perhaps you need a bolster. Perhaps you can just sit on a folded blanket for Upavishta Konasana. Just depends. I'm going to sit on a blanket. If you feel like you need a little more height, you could take your bolster. And then legs are wide as feels comfortable. Again, this is a nice way to release what we've done. Beautiful. Fingertips on either side. Again, pressing down to lift. Outer heel is heavy. Toes are spreading. Gorgeous. Collarbones are broad. Nice. And then listen carefully. We're going to inhale that left arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, you're going to reach the left hand towards the right foot. And we're going to go a few times. Inhaling to lift up. Exhaling. You might be touching ankle. You might be touching knee. Doesn't matter. Like you're casting a line. Like you're fishing. And then next time you go, we're going to stay. So left hand comes towards right foot, and then right hand reaches out as well. It's like you're trying to line your nose up with your knee or your shin. Almost like you're trying to square your torso towards that leg. So these muscles we were working, these transverse abdominals and these deep stabilization muscles at the back of the body here, this should help to alleviate any strain or not strain, but tension that might have built up there. It's a nice counter move to the strengthening we were doing. Nice. And then inhaling to come back up. Let's do the second side. So we start with fingertips on either side of the body to lift and spread. And then that left hand's going to stay where it is. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, cast it towards the foot. Inhale back up. Exhale to go. Right? Just finding this very fluid movement. Then on the next one we stay. So next time your hand comes to the foot, the ankle, the shin, doesn't matter. Hold on now with both hands, turning your torso towards that leg any amount. Still trying to reach the heart away from the belly button. So you might be up here with the hands on the knee, right? This might be where you're at. That is okay. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice. Then inhaling to come back to neutral. Exhale. Let's take the hands under the knees to help the knees back together. Feet are wide. Go for it. Take the knees side to side. Yes. And then let's do a little passive lying twist before Shavasana. So I'm taking my blanket back down on my mat. If I lost a layer, I'm going to put it back on. If my socks came off, I'm putting them back on. Getting everything ready, having everything near me that I might want for Shavasana. So if I want blocks under the thighs or a bolster on top or another blanket, I'm gathering everything. And then I'm coming to lay down. Head and neck on that blanket. You might take the head a little side to side just for kicks. And then as you feel ready, arms go out in a T shape. We're drawing the knees into the chest. So we'll take an active little twist before we go into the passive, just to help to re-knit the low back and the abdomen. So the knees are close together and close to your chest, feet lightly flexed. Inhale here, exhale, knees go halfway to the right. Halfway to the right and pause. And then you're strongly rolling the outer left ribs down towards the earth. The navel's drawing back towards the spine. And then inhaling the knees back to neutral. Exhale, knees go halfway to the left. Exhale, roll the outer right ribs down towards the floor. Gorgeous. Then inhaling back to neutral. Now we'll go for it. Exhale, knees come all the way to the right. And this might be where your blocks could come in handy. A flat block between the knees or a block at the outer thigh. Turning the head in opposition. Breathing here. And then inhaling back through center. Let's go all the way to the other side. Knees go left, head goes right. Again, take any props you need. Let the body find its way in the shape. Nice. And then inhaling to come back to neutral. Now we're setting up for full Shavasana. So maybe those blocks behind the back of the upper thighs. Blanket underneath the head and neck. Cover up if you need it. If you want weight on the top of your body, a bolster can be really nice. And then chin moves towards the chest, back of the neck long. Let's open the mouth wide. Stick the tongue out. Stretch the tongue, stretch the throat, stretch the jaw. Gorgeous. And then draw the tongue back into the mouth. Let just the lips come back to touch. And then let go yourself completely. Let loose yourself completely. Let yourself rest here in stillness and silence. Now there's nothing to do except to rest. And letting one strand of your awareness come back to hear my voice. Do a little check-in with yourself and see if you feel like moving yet, because you might not. If you want to remain in Shavasana longer and you have time and space to do that, I highly recommend you just stay right where you are. There's no need to do anything else. Others, you do feel like you're ready to move or you're time-bound in some way, don't be in a hurry to pop up. Instead, start to deepen the breath and bring little movements back to the body, back to the fingers, back to the toes, back to the ankles and the wrists. And on an exhalation, drawing the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug, give yourself a squeeze. And very slowly, very mindfully rolling to the right side, pausing there for a moment, feeling the earth beneath you. And then head's going to be the last thing to arrive. Eyes remain closed if you can. You're going to push the floor away to come back to a seated position. Tailbone descending, base of skull ascending. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart, lift the sternum to the base of the thumbs. And on an exhalation, let the chin move forward, let the chin move down. We're bowing to the seat of the soul. We're bowing to that divine inner wellspring of kindness, compassion, patience, and joy. The light in me is deeply honored by your light, grateful for your practice, and humbled by your presence. And in case no one's told you yet today, I love you, and I'm convinced of your capacity to continue crafting a life worth living. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.
I love you too, Veronica.
Ah!